Hello, everybody. It's Friday. That means it's time for another topic of the week. First things first, last week's topic on the direction of the narrative and its shaping the releases. A lot of interesting commentary on that one. Good responses from several people, as always. And I think overall, the general feeling was that most people really like the narrative shaping the releases to some degree, though not completely. So I think that's reasonable, right? You want to still have some slack in there that if they want to release a one-off thing or a one-off army, that's fine. You can, but that at the same time they like it when there is some progression in the narrative. Although I think some people might get a little whiplash, and that was another good point brought up that you want it to evolve, but there's a very careful pacing line you have to walk, right? Of like it can't go just so fast that you can't keep up. And I think that's a totally fair point. You want it to evolve, you want the world to change, but you don't want it to suddenly be like, and that army's dead, and a new one's here, and this other force is gone, and that if it goes like that, it can just be way too tumultuous. Um, so check out that video as always, linked down below, and in that video, the description, you can find all the response videos, just like always. But let's turn to this week's topic of the week. So my topic of the week this week will actually be something that was prompted by the Godfather himself, OB360. He uploaded a video today and asked people to, he hoped people would sort of talk about this and spread it out there. And he texted me and said, hey, maybe this is a good topic of the week. And I agree. It certainly is. So the topic that he brought up, and I'll link his video down below because this topic comes with homework. Go watch his video. That's what I'll say first off. But the topic that he brought up was sort of the importance of GTs and tournaments, and how do you make them more appealing? How do you encourage people to get together and have a good time, to cross their normal social barriers? How do you make the whole thing a more positive experience? Okay? And he gives a couple interesting suggestions in his. He talks about alternate ways you could structure some of the prizes. He talks about what you could do, say, on the Saturday night, generally the night that everybody in between the 2 days of the tournament, and things like that. I think he's got some really good ideas. So go and watch his video as well. But I think there's something really interesting there because I do think he's right that tournaments represent something really important to this hobby, even if you don't consider yourself a tournament gamer. Because that is to say, there's a lot of different types of tournaments, and there's lots of different points. There's what I mean by that is some are more narratively based, some are based more on really kind of hardcore tests of skill, and everything maybe in between or both. And I think what's really relevant about them is that this hobby of wargaming is innately social, right? Like, in a world of where you're the one wargamer in a massive locality around you, you're not really playing the game. It takes at least two to tango, as it were in this case. And ideally, you obviously want more than that. You want to have a club-sized group or something like that, so that you play different armies and experience different things and so on and so forth. But I think tournaments have value beyond that because they expand out this hobby to its ultimate sort of social paradigm, right? Which is getting to know these other people, playing completely new forces, and just hanging out and being social. I think that a lot of the fun of this game, and one of the elements that makes it endure, is because it is such a social experience, to get out there and play all these other people. So I think tournaments are really important for that factor, but I think there are two big problems with them. One, I think that they can be scary, frankly. Like, people can often think of themselves as, I'm not a tournament player. I wouldn't go to tourneys. And that sucks because that tells me that there's something that one of two things is true then. Either there are no tournaments in their area that actually match up with the way they want to play the game, which is possible. Or two, they have a misconstrued idea of what a tournament is. And there are things out there and they're just not aware of them. I suppose either is possible. And I think it's easy for that sort of for tournaments to just get misconstrued as the sort of whack situation where you're just getting together and it's a bunch of people playing hardcore, which some tournaments are, and that's fine. In fact, that's quite good. You want to have some hard edge tournaments because there is a group of people who want to go experience that. So, but I think nonetheless, even these tournaments could benefit from thinking deeply about how do we still bring the social to the forefront and get all of these players interacting and being friendly with each other and stuff like that. Not the least of which is because it's going to make sort of negative feelings at the table less likely. If you're friends with everyone there and you know these people and you have a good relationship with these people, the tournament's probably going to run better, right? Just because you're all getting along. I'm not saying you couldn't still have arguments and things couldn't still, people still couldn't get angry. Of course, I've never gotten angrier sometimes than when I've played, these games with very close friends. But my point is that on the whole, you're going to be less likely to probably engage in more bad behavior if you actually think, if you're friends with everybody there. So I thought that he had that OB had some really good ideas. I'm actually going to save my idea for my own response video because I have a series of videos I'm going to put together about things we can do with the game, and the first one is actually relevant to making tournaments more appealing to a larger number of people. I already had that video planned, so man, how well did that work out? I get to respond to my own topic again. But what I'll say here for my own part before I do my specific response is that I do think, one, tournaments have an innate value to them because of the way that they bring people together and reinforce the social aspect of the hobby, expose you to other things. You get to see other armies, you get to play new armies, you get to make good friends, and I think that has value. Regardless of, crowning a winner, as OB points out, yeah, that person is winning, and that's great, and that's some portion of the point of this, but it's certainly not all of the point of this. And two, I think that it's good to have tournaments be welcome and friendly and open and have ideas of how they can be more attractive to more people. So whether that runs the gamut from helping to share information better, all of us sharing information about tournaments in our area more easily, or sharing information about tournaments we're running on various sites, or just having other interesting things to do that people might think they want to participate in while they're there. It's one of the reasons that I really like, conventions, right? As OB mentions, you take something like Adepticon, which is hardly fair as it's the biggest wargaming convention, but there's plenty of other conventions. And all of them have that aspect to it where, yes, you can go there and play in a tournament, but you've also got all these other things going on. Other events, could be painting classes, could be late night board games, could be bits trading, could be whatever. He mentions all of those things, and there's those and many more. So I think that where it could happen, I think a lot of that stuff is possible. And not all that stuff is going to be possible at every tournament. But what I want to know is your ideas. So respond to this. Respond to Once Bitten. Make a video with your ideas for things you'd love to see at tournaments that would maybe make you go, or ways you can think of to grow the tournament scene, to get more people interested. Different ways to structure a tournament, or different events or activities to have at tournaments. I think all that's good stuff. So drop in the comments down below. As always, want to see that. OB's video's down there in the description as well, so go watch that. Or, of course, any video response you made, we'll link that down there too, so you can always come back to this video and check out all the responses. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.